Welcome to You Just Have to Laugh's episode on self-esteem. Contrary to popular belief, you don't build self-esteem. Self-esteem is a byproduct from doing something, an action, a deed that is hard, that you love, that means something to you. A high school senior mayor is about to explain all this to you. She also understands something very important, how to manage her emotions.
You have all these emotions, and so when you have an outlet, it allows you to not only vent, but to turn that negative energy into something positive and constructive, which for me helped my self-esteem a lot.
What do you want to do?
Circus.
Circus.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's awesome, it's foudroyant, it's dazzling, it's marvelous, it's magical.
This is not traditional.
No, it's not
Okay.
traditional at all.
And she wants to do this. She's also doing jazz guitar.
Yes,
When she was 10 years old, she started doing roller derby.
right.
You encouraged her, you supported her to do this. Why, as a mom, is that important to do?
I think I learned from my 3 other kids that if you try to keep them down the track that you think is appropriate, it's not going to end well. So I grew up in a very educated family. You should go finish high school. You should finish college. And when you push into your agenda on your children, it doesn't work well. And it didn't work well with my other children. And so for Mira wanting to do circus, I know how to get someone into college. I know to write great letters and do essays, but for something like this, it was finding people in town that could help her. I just thought it was a cool thing she was doing. She was attracted to fringe activities that were interesting and opened up my world about what was happening in this world, and not in the bubble that we have a tendency to live in. But when she became more serious about it, I wasn't really sure how to support her other than helping her network and figure out what's going on. Their circus doesn't really have a 401k. There's no retirement. Health insurance, iffy. And so she gets a lot of advice from performers about every paycheck, you better put all of it away, as much as you can, to retirement. And so she's getting real-time advice from real performers that are doing what they love through teaching and performing. So it's just helping shepherd her into her world and then letting her go. We're almost there.
How important is that to you that mom's got your back on this?
Incredibly important. I don't think I could do it without my parents' support, especially because I started before I could drive. Public transit's slightly terrifying.
Speaking about that, I read someplace from your mother that maybe you're not the best driver in the world.
I think I get
I might put up a bad can of worms here.
I have performance anxiety when I drive.
She does.
I'm perfectly fine when no one else is in the car.
Oh,
I say.
I gotcha.
Even though both instances happened when nobody else was in the car.
Okay.
You may have seen Ward Foley in one of our other episodes. Ward has, let's see if I get this right, arthrogryposis multiplex congenita. He was born with club hands, club feet. He's had 37 operations. And Ward teaches something about tragedies and going through real difficult times, and that is you turn that around to have meaning.
I was making some donuts.
Yeah.
And my feet slipped out from under me and I fell in the fryer. Now,
How deep did you fall in the
I
fire?
fell in where when I pulled out my hands, there was no skin up past to my wrists
Oh, geez.
on both hands. But between, now remember I was born with clubbed hands.
Yeah.
But before I fell in the fryer, my doctors had just straightened my wrists. So when my hands went in the fryer, the first thing I thought of was my doctors are going to kill me. The second thing I thought of was, thank God I had them straightened. Because I can't show you, but if you imagine bending your wrist, I would have landed on this part of my wrist, meaning my arms and my face would have gone in the fryer. That's looking for the good.
That's looking for the good.
And I remember this is how much pain. Now, I remember I had almost 30 some surgeries from birth defects, breaking the ankles, the knee, reconstructions of all muscle transplants. When I fell in the fryer, and the first time my mom ever cleaned my hands, now my mom never said a bad word her whole life.
Yeah.
The first time she cleaned my hands, I screamed every bad word I knew. That's how painful it was.
Wow.
I have great empathy for people who have been through burns. A lot, most of them are a lot worse than mine.
what really got to me, Ward, in the first time I interviewed that impressed so many people, he said, all these things made me stronger, made me
Absolutely.
funny.
Yeah,
How
absolutely.
does that make you funny?
Because it all strengthened me. You know, when I would go off into the park all by myself, whether it be in high school or college, or that trying to accept myself, feeling like I never fit in as a child. And I would go off and I would be in a beautiful day, the sun would be shining and all I'd see is darkness because of the being teased and made fun of. And then as I developed and as I looked at what I was really learning and how I developed into finding compassion and empathy and how all these scars helped me become who I am. You know, if you erase these scars, I'm not who I am. It's those scars that make us who we are, and it's what we do with them that counts.
Meet Mark Williams. He's going to show you how pity does you no good, how failure makes you better, and how important humor is when you go through a tough time.
When the Hyatt Regency Skywalk collapsed in Kansas City, you were the last one pulled out alive.
Right.
You were buried under, you know, not just on you, but there were 60 tons of concrete and steel. Your legs were, you were flat on the ground.
Yeah. This left leg was behind my back and up behind my right ear. This leg was behind my back and up behind my left ear.
And you're flat on the
And I'm
ground.
flat face down.
10 hours.
10 hours.
And you're the last one they pulled out alive.
Right.
And as soon as they pulled you out, you looked at your watch and said,
My Timex took a licking and kept on ticking.
you really did
And they
that.
started laughing.
They started laughing.
Yeah.
Now here you are, and I'm kind of recapping.
And then I said, first to the party, last to leave. That's typical for me.
I felt that, especially during the darkest parts of my life, I felt I had to be better than everybody just to be equal. And I felt that I had to do something just so big that I'd be normal.
Like what? What did you do that was so big so you could be?
Oh, nothing really. I think one of the reasons when I rode my bicycle across the United States and Canada, it was
Stop. Nothing really. When I rode my bike across the United States and Canada.
but I think that was part of that growing process.
Then you're laying in you're laying in there, and your mother asks the doctor if you're going to make it.
Yes, this is a story that I have been retold, that she asked the doctor if I was going to make it, and the doctor said, I don't think so. And supposedly I sat up on the table and I said, like hell, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to go duck hunting on October 19th when the season opened. And then I laid back down and slept for many days.
When you did that, what confidence did you have in yourself?
Oh, I knew I could do it. I had all the confidence in the world,
After you got done, where was the confidence level?
even higher.
Even higher.
Yeah.
And somebody explained to me that's where you build self-esteem.
Ooh, that's a great answer.
And the fact is, you did go duck hunting.
I did. The
3 months
baby
later.
3 months later,
They're carrying you duck hunting.
my physical therapist carried me on his back through a marsh, and we duck hunted, and yeah.
And I just wondered, see, I didn't know all this when I interviewed you the first time. And I just wondered, this obstinance is not the right word, but this way you're going, this isn't going to get me down. It sounds like that's the same attitude you had with this.
I'm sure it was. And the kids I ran, my friends that I ran with, they didn't cut me any slack. My name was March of Dimes to them because I was all crippled up. Oh, yeah, I couldn't move. I was in a wheelchair and everything. And they go, hey, March of Dimes, what are we going to do today? March of Dimes.
Give people the donations.
Yeah,
Crippled.
yeah.
When you feel confident that you rode a bike across the United States, then if somebody would make fun of you, now what?
Yeah, right. It doesn't even faze me.
Pity doesn't do you any good. Pity doesn't make you heal. Oh, what can I do for you? That's human nature. You want to help other people. But if you keep taking that help, then you never get up and stand on your own 2 feet. Somewhere along the line, you have to say, no, I'll do this myself.
I understand, let's give a kid a trophy for participating, but the kid doesn't do anything.
So now you're raising kids that get out of school that think they ought to have a job for $100,000 and go buy a new house. They've accomplished nothing. You need to go make sure you can work in life and that you're worth something. You're not worth anything to an employer when you get out.
And they haven't learned how to be something worth to themselves, have they?
That's the worst part of it. I think that our children, And my generation is the same. I've said for years that maybe one of the greatest things that ever happened to this country is that we had in the 30s and the Dust Bowl era and everything, we had the Depression. And those people were forced to find a way to live and to find out what they're made of. I was forced to do that in the Hyatt. Everybody used to say to me, "Oh my God, I don't know how you made it. You're so strong." I said, no. Don't try to make me out like I'm strong. This is a live or die situation. If you decide you're going to give up, you're going to die. So you fight to live. I was tested, and only do you learn how strong you are and what you're made of when you're tested.
I was born with a lot of my problems. So I've had my whole life to learn how to deal with them. What a gift and a blessing that is.
What a gift and a blessing that is. You don't hear people say stuff like that, Ward.
Oh, well, thanks.
I have all these problems. Why is your problems a gift and a blessing?
Look what they've taught me. Look at what I have become. I'm probably the strongest person I know.
There are people that are successful and people that are failures. And until you fail at something, until you're allowed to fail, then you'll never try to accomplish anything. You learn far more from failing than you do from success. Because if you're successful at something, you think, "Oh, well, I did it, and man, I'm successful. I'll always be successful. I got that done right like that." If you fail, you sit down and you start analyzing. Okay, here's what went wrong. Here's why I was not successful, because I didn't do this, this, and this.
Circus has allowed me to take all the energy and emotion that would have been spent sulking and putting it into working out and training and flexibility. Like when I'm really angry, when something happened, or I'm just sad, it's just really nice. It's really helpful to go to the studio and train, and it just clears my mind. It boosts my self-esteem. I feel better. I come back stronger. I come back more flexible. I come back more focused. So it raises my opinion of myself.
It's so important to understand what you've been through, to accept what you've been through, and to use all those experiences to help other people. Because when you help other people, watch what happens to your self-esteem.
Scarfest is a festival of our scars. And it's not, of course, all things I do will have kids with arthrogryposis.
Yeah.
But it's more open for everyone and mostly focused on children that have scars you can see, scars you can't see. And it's a 3, 4, 5 hour day, a festival. Mm-hmm. And we give out little dolls and coloring books, and kids draw their scars on them. It's, again, to help them love and accept themselves the way they are. We even do a game called Pin the Scar on Scarman. Isn't that funny?
Do you encourage them to make jokes about their scars?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, I do. Yeah, laughter is like and what's so neat is when I'm with these children, especially the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, that group, when they can nearly fall because of the way they're walking, or do something, eat and accidentally drop a spoon, and they can laugh at that. Wow, that's huge. Instead of being embarrassed, they're laughing at the way they are. At that age, that's incredible, and that just makes my heart happy.
What would you tell kids to go after their passion?
Find something you love to do, and then find a way to make money doing it. Mm-hmm. Which is incredibly difficult, especially like being a circus performer, but it's satisfying work.
Gotcha.
Like you go in there, and even if you have a crappy training day, it's still comforting to know that it's better than if you did nothing that night or that day. Even if I didn't get as many pull-ups as I wanted to, I'm still working those muscles and training and getting stronger.
You know what she's doing because of that? What she's not doing is trolling Twitter, Facebook, and when people have a lot of time, that's subtweeting. My 19-year-old is like,
what's a subtweet?
Yeah, exactly. It's a way to send messages to people in a mean way, talking about someone else's tweet. So this whole social media, that when you have a passion, you're not doing that.
Kids always ask me a lot of questions. when they're asking about how being happy, and they ask a lot of times how much pain I'm in and things, and I tell them that I can be in the worst pain. For me, pain is all relative, but I can have a bad night. And instead of laying in bed and tossing and turning and whining and complaining to myself, if I get out of bed and I drive to the hospital and visit a hospice patient at 3 a.m, suddenly my pain isn't as bad. It's just another way that we can get out of ourselves, help somebody else, and it really helps ourselves.
Do you do that?
Absolutely, I do it. I probably do it once a week. One of my favorite stories is a lady that was dying, and we were having a serious conversation, and she says to me, "Ward, I sure hope I go to the right place." And I said, "Oh, you will. I know you will." And she goes, "No, you don't understand. I don't do well in heat." But it's like, here's a lady dying, bringing me laughter and joy. Wow.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Okay. And I know, I want you, that camera right there, I want you to look at that camera, and I want you to talk to kids about how they got to deal with their scars. And just wing it, Ward. Just talk from your heart. Teaching kids what's the best way to deal with their scars.
Okay. I'm going to start with a story. I was doing a speech in California at a so-called normal high school. When I was done, within a few hours, I got an email from a high school girl saying, "Thank you for coming to our school. I've been a cutter for several years." I didn't even know what a cutter was. I had to look it up and ask a couple people. But in her email, she said, "Thank you for coming to the school. I'm going to ask my parents for counseling tonight. I was going to commit suicide, and I hope someday that I can do what you do." There's nothing more beautiful than that. All I did is reach out to help somebody else, and it helps me more than it does even that girl. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help, no matter how old or how young you are. We all have scars, each and every one of us. A lot of mine you can see, but we all have them.
If we don't laugh at them, then they're gonna make us go another direction.
Absolutely, to the darkness.
To the darkness.
When I can look in the mirror, and I tell kids this all the time, you have to look in the mirror and like what you see. That's what my parents taught me. And until you when you begin to like what you see, that's when you begin to live. Eventually, you'll begin to laugh at what you see. And when you can laugh at you, and you've talked about this, you do it all the time. Laughter truly is one of our greatest gifts.